We are going to do a little bit of a review from pre-algebra and chapter 5 of our school year. We're going to be writing equations of linear relationships. I am looking for things to be written in slope-intercept form. Bethany is 6 meters from her telescope and walks away from it at a speed of 2 meters per second. That is my beginning point, my starting point. Here is my speed, unit rate, rate of change. When we're writing the equation, I would write y equals 2x plus 6. She's beginning the y-intercept 6 meters from her car or telescope and walking away 2 meters per second. Then I ask you to use these equations and just fill in some blanks. In this case, x will be our seconds. Time is an independent variable, so you will always have time as your x. In this case, y will represent total distance from, see, I have the word car, but I mean telescope. All right, so after 10 seconds, it would be 2 times 10 plus 6. I get 26. Now we're going to do the same process. Because I gave you seconds, I'll put that in for x. 2 times that is 24 and a half. 24 and a half plus 6 is 30 and a half. Nope, excuse me. I tried to pause it, but couldn't fast enough. Now my next question is, when will she be that far from the car or the telescope, depending part of the story problem you're reading? So I need to put that in for the y, the distance, and I get a two-step equation to solve. Subtract 6 from both sides, divide by 2, and I would get 31 seconds. It would take her 31 seconds to get that far. Okay, when you read story problems that deal with either Verizon or Comcast in your assignment, I am always referring to the bill, not to your wallet, not to your savings account, not to your checking account. How much does the bill cost? So Comcast charges, here's my unit rate, my slope, $5.99 a month to rent their modem. And a one-time you have to pay $49.99 to install the modem. When I write this equation, y equals $5.99x plus the installation fee. X is going to stand for the number of months because it's a unit of time. Y will be the total cost. How much do you have to pay Comcast this month? So we'll substitute, because I gave you months, in for the X. And I am going to get my calculator. So $5.99 times 9 plus the $49.99. And I have too many decimals. Sorry. And it's 103.81. And I will put it to the hundredths place because we are talking about money. Now be very careful. In this one, I gave you years. In our equation, X stands for months. So 1.5 years equals how many months? 18. Couple ways of doing this. So then I would do $5.99 times 18 plus $49.99 $99. And I would get a bill for $157.81. Again, I am going to make it look like money and round to the nearest hundredth. For the next question, I ask you, when will it cost? Remember, we talked about up here, Y stands for my total cost, so I'll put $187.76 into the equation where the Y is, and I will solve my two-step equation. I actually need to shut the curtains in just a second. So I'm going to take $187.76, subtract the $49.99, divide by $5.99. Whoops. And I got a weird number. So I'm going to pause it, double check my work, and shut the curtains. I'll be right back. All right, my apologies. I redid the calculations in my calculator, and I got an answer of 23. So it would take 23 months. My bill would be $187.76. The next one, I had a dog named Sophie, and she was kind of chubby. So I took her to the vet. She weighed this much to start when I went to the vet. He said, please put her on a diet. He wanted me to have her lose 2.5 pounds per month. That is my unit rate. That is her beginning weight rate. So now I want her to lose weight, not get any chubbier. So I will have this be negative because I want the beginning amount to decrease, so that needs to be negative. This is my unit of time, so that is my months. Y would be her new total weight. So after being on the diet for 2 months, I will put 2 in for X because X is my months. That is 5, so I would have 37 3/4. After 7.5 months, I go get her weighed just because I'm excited she's doing so well. So I put 7.5 in for X, and I'm going to use my calculator again. And she will now weigh 23.7 pounds because we solved for Y. The next question, I ask you to calculate, when will Sophie weigh 30.25? Well, I want to know when. This is what I don't know, so that's my X. So I'll put this in for the Y. And we have a two-step equation to solve. And this should be a 7. I know I solved it right. So then using the calculator, at month 5. I didn't show my work because there just isn't room. One more example. Timmy has $425 in his savings account, and he spends $10.50 a week on new apps for his cell phone. That's the beginning amount. This is my unit rate of change. So Y equals $10.50 a week. That's a lot. Now, he's starting with $425, but he's spending money. So I'm anticipating that this number needs to decrease For it to decrease, that would have to be a negative. I gave you weeks. X is my unit for time. This is how much is total in his savings. So I will put 5 in for X and solve. $300 $, so $372.50. I add the 0 because we are talking about money. Now I will repeat the same process, but at 8.5 weeks, I will have, or he will have, $335.75 in his account after 8.5 weeks. My question to you is when? When is kind of a time question. I want to know the weeks. When will he have this much left? So this is how much is in his savings account. That is the Y. And it is a 2-step equation that we need to solve. So we will first subtract the 425 and we divide by the negative 1050. It is 6 weeks. He will have $362 in his account.